Hey, welcome to Love and Liberate. I'm Emilie, your host. I'm a self-leadership coach, embodiment teacher, artist, and an activist for love. Now, I don't mean the fluffy kind of love. I'm talking about the real, the raw, confronting kind of love, the kind that cracks you wide open and liberates you, creating a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you. Because that is what I believe life truly is about. So through personal stories and inspiring, soul-stirring conversations on all things healing, embodiment, and spirituality, I'll help you navigate the good, the bad, and the ugly with tangible tools, fresh perspectives, and of course, a truckload of love. Here's to loving and liberating, one heart at a time. Hey lovers, welcome back. Today I want to talk about pain. So we're not going to have a laugh, but we're going to be pretty real. I'm going to talk about my own experience with pain. I'm going to explain also how I move through it, also what it looks like when you come out on the other end. But I'm also going to talk about very sad cases of pain-killing situations that ended up being human killers. I'm talking about, well, many of our beloved artists like Prince, Michael Jackson, Matthew Perry, Heath Ledger. A lot of our amazing, inspiring artists, they didn't die because they wanted to, but they were numbing the pain that they couldn't tend to. And that's how they died. And I think a lot of us are having that kind of slow death by numbing their pain. And I know it's been said before that we live in a society that encourages numbing by scrolling, working, alcohol, coffee, whatever. But still, I think it is an important topic to speak to. And I'm going to share some personal bits, and I'm going to connect some new bits, and I'm going to find maybe a new perspective for you that is going to make something click. At least that's what I hope. And even if that doesn't happen, I think it's an absolute valuable conversation to start, to open, and a topic to tend to in today's world where there is so much pain. And we just need to be willing to show up for it and to feel it and to move through it. So, yeah, that's what this week's podcast is going to be about. If you're up for it, stay. If you're not, you are so excused. You know what you need, and you know how to take care of yourself. So the reason I want to talk about pain today is because I've been traveling through quite some pain the past few weeks. It's been a particularly challenging time for me. And it's interesting because there's no escaping and there's also no relief. I mean, I do drink a glass of wine left and right, and I'll have a cigarette alongside of it. But I don't drastically escape the pain, and there's way more crying than there is drinking. And I guess that's always that. As long as that is like a 90-10 balance, you're good. Maybe an 80-20 can be fine. But I think once you're moving to a equal or the other side of the scale situation, I guess something's off. Anyway, I'm no doctor, and I have no right to speak to this in that way. This is just my opinion. Little side note. So I've been traveling through quite some pain, and it's been interesting to just be with it and to just allow for it to move through me. Usually I have a solid home base that allows for my practice to be in place every day, And now that hasn't been the case. So that was another challenging element coming in place that had me, yeah, not being able to move through the things that I usually move through as I do. So there was a lot of just resting, retreating, and crying involved in my pain journey. And it's interesting because it's also made me feel more connected to stories of pain, other people's stories, biographies, but also, the stories that we know of certain, like I said in the intro, artists that we love and that we celebrated, but that unfortunately so ended their lives not even willingly, but because they accidentally overdosed by killing the pain. And I did a little research on that because actually, in the late 90s, there was an actual opioid crisis because pharmaceutical companies, they claimed that opioids, they were safe, non-addictive. But that was a lie. And it caused one of our biggest modern tragedies because hundreds of thousands of people died and millions of people were hooked all of a sudden. And there was no pain killed. There was pain numbed for sure, but numbing the pain is what ended up killing the people, which is the craziest epiphany. What a way to market something, to say, oh, but this will kill your pain. Actually, that's not true. This will numb your pain. And if you'll take enough of them, then you'll end up killing yourself. Because if you numb the pain, you numb the very signal that is asking you to change ways or to do something. It's like your house is on fire and you're just like, oh, let's just turn off the alarm. But then your house is going to burn down. So this situation is a great metaphor for our lives, our modern lives today, I feel. How we numb with work, with our phones, with alcohol, coffee. There are so many ways that we try to kill our pain, but we only ever end up numbing it because the only way to kill pain is to feel it. The one thing that pain is not capable of living through is being felt. Pain will not outlive being felt. And it's that easy. I mean, let me nuance that. It's not that easy. Obviously, feeling pain is extremely challenging. But it's the only way. Because pain is not the enemy. Pain is mistaken for an enemy, but pain is actually the body's intelligence speaking, letting you know something's off. Listen to me. Look at this. And, whether it's coming from a mental process first, like psychosomatic, or what the connection to the emotional body is, I'm leaving that even on the side. But either way, whatever pain body that you're experiencing is an invitation to be present and to sit with it and to move through it. And in my personal experience, there's an intelligence to pain as well. Because every time that I allowed myself to feel pain, when I would be in front of the pain, facing the pain, and knowing uh-oh, pain is knocking on my door, I realized that every time I opened the door and I let the pain in, it was bearable. But when you face it, when you look at it, it looks so huge, like it's gonna swallow you whole. But in reality, pain has an intelligence to it, and it will only give you the amount of pain that you can bear in one go. I really believe that even when you receive the most horrific news, your brain is not going to be able to process all of the pain in one go. So there is a safety valve built inside of our bodies that will allow for the right amount of pain in that you can process. And again, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know the science behind this. And I'm not backing this up with any kind of science. I'm just backing it up with my own personal experience. However, I also still feel the fear whenever pain knocks on my door. And even without the pain, there's like this very silent presence of a fear of pain, or a fear of not being able to cope or manage or deal with the pain that might suddenly pop up. Like, I guess the classic one would be if my partner comes to die all of a sudden, or my parent or my child. That's a kind of fear of pain that I kind of like live with. But all the pain that's actually been in my life and that I've actually faced, I was always capable of facing it, sitting with it, and moving through it. Not to say that I've moved through all of the pain that is to be addressed in my life, not at all. But I mean, the pieces of pain that presented themselves at my door, every time I let them in, they dissolved. And they became friends, and they told me pieces of wisdom, and they shared ideas, and they inspired me in ways that them not visiting wouldn't have inspired me or gave me insights. And I believe that every piece of pain, the famous poet Rumi, he has like this beautiful poem where he says emotions, I think it's called The Guest House, and he's like, every emotion is a guest, and you just want to be a polite host, and you want to invite and welcome every single emotion in and be like, have a seat, let's have a chat, tell me what you know, tell me what you see, give me the information that you have, that you carry. And I think pain is like, comes in various shapes and forms, and sometimes it's grief, sometimes it's anger, sometimes it's jealousy, sometimes it's whatever, loneliness. It comes in many shapes, many costumes, but every time it knocks on your door, see it as a very loyal, trustworthy friend coming to give you a piece of invaluable information about yourself, and also handing you a key, a little key to a little safe in which you are keeping valuables, like beautiful pieces of jewelry. You have, every time pain knocks on your door and you allow it in, you receive a key to information about yourself, about the world, because every time you sink deeper in yourself, you're sinking into a deeper layer of the world and of everyone around you, because in the depth, we're all the same. So the deeper you dig in yourself, and the more connection that you have to all these little secrets that you're carrying, that's where you meet the other person as well. And that's also where you meet God or soul or spirit or source, or however you want to call it. So actually, pain is a portal to self-knowledge, a portal to connection, in the first place to yourself, but then secondarily also to other people in the world around you. you will feel more connected if you connect to yourself more. And that's another part of the epidemic, I think, of the pain killing epidemic is a disconnect. Because what pain also does, it connects us to ourselves, but therefore also with the other. So if we're not connecting to ourselves, it's impossible to connect to another person because it requires connection with oneself first. That's the prerogative to connection with anything else. So that little loop is a genius loop to keep people in the pain-killing, numbing business. So if you want to get out of that loop, the only way out is to sit with the pain. And I know I'm sure you've heard it a gazillion times before, and there's so many spirituality preaching to what I'm saying. But the actual practice, what does that actually look like? And I'll give you a little example of my own life. And it's very simple, but it's deep. For example, I was leaving a place that is very dear to me, but I just felt the time to wrap things up was there. And even though that there was so much there that I loved and that I wanted and that I need also, there is another place calling me right now. So it's a goodbye while you're still deeply in love. Which is a very conflicted place to be in, and a place that I've been in before. Yet the pain in this new situation felt as new. Anyway, so what happened is I woke up and my chest was so tight I could barely breathe. And I woke up super early, like 5:30 a.m. and it was still dark outside. And first I decided to calm myself. So I put on a guided meditation, something to just calm, to be with my body. But the tension wouldn't subside. So after an hour, like I had like a half an hour meditation, half an hour of rumination in my head. And I was like, okay, I guess I just need to get up and move. So I got up. And usually I would step onto the mat or do something of my embodiment work. But I just felt a call to go to nature. So I went outside, went for a tiny little walk, and I just found a place in the woods where I was by myself. And I just sat on a log of wood and on an old branch, and the sun was coming up, and I just asked for grief to come in and to just show itself. And it was really interesting. The minute I gave it the permission to come, the tension dissolved into a massive, massive cry. There were some roars. There was some drool. It was an ugly cry. It was a really ugly cry. But they work really well in nature, in case you want an extra tip. The ugly cry is really uncomfortable usually in a neat situation, like in a proper situation. So for me, it really helps if I'm out in nature, because then I'm like connected to my rawness, and I feel the earth holding me and like carrying me. So that works really well for me. Oh, also, you want to bring a water bottle and I always have a loo roll on me when I go for a proper cry. Because I know I'll be needing quite a lot of that. And then water to compensate for the water that you just chid. Um, so that's interesting. I've been, uh, for the past 5 years, ever since I decided to leave the city, I've discovered and evolved and developed a practice of moving through pain without painkillers. But now I'm living in a city again, and all of a sudden, I see myself in need of a painkiller because I have a place I need to be. I need to, like do the thing regardless of the pain. There's no time, there's no space for me to just be like, oh, I'll put life on hold and I'll just sit with it. That was really confronting because I needed to kill the pain because I needed to move forward. I couldn't cancel this meeting. So I took a painkiller and I was amazed. I hadn't taken a painkiller in years, and then all of a sudden I just popped a pill and I was literally fine. And that was really, yeah. I'm not interested in, like, I love the work, the alchemy of turning pain into portals. So I don't see a threat for me to slide into poppin' painkiller habit. But still, it was interesting how easy the pain had gone. And also, I need to confess that when I come home of a day outside in the city life, like a full day, the one and only thing that I'm craving is a glass of wine or a nice beer because I'm a Belgian girl. And that's really, really confronting because I don't have the time or the energy anymore in the end of the day to go and sit with all of the discomfort that I'm feeling in my body, all the tension, all the stress that I've accumulated throughout just one single day in a city. Now, obviously, having lived off the grid for 5 years, my system has become a lot more sensitive and accustomed also to time and to spaciousness and to soft sounds of nature like birds and wind and sea instead of cars and motors and screaming humans. So it's I wanna put that as a side note. Like, I am aware of the fact that living certain lives in certain environments is just really challenging to, to stick with the spiritual practice of sitting with the pain, calling in the visitors. And I think that's also why there's such a massive burnout and such a massive depression epidemic also, because you can't live consistently numbing pain. That's just not an option. It's gonna come out somewhere at some point. Like, the pain's not going anywhere. There's no killing pain with a pill. There's only a meeting pain and transforming pain into information or lessons or depth. And I get it, we're scared of depth in this society where superficiality is so celebrated and is so, perfected and curated, and we're obsessed with the superficial, literally, with like the little varnish, the little layer that covers this huge, huge, depth. this complex depth of being a human and this interconnectedness of, of what it is to be a human, which is so confusing and conflicting and complex and so many things. But it's just so beautiful and so embodied, true, to say to you from my heart to yours. I can so truthfully, authentically say that every single pain that I have faced made me a better human. And I think that is something we need to teach our children. We need to teach each other. We want to, create space for that knowing. And not only for that knowing, for that practice of being with each other's pain also. Instead of having your friend coming up to yours saying, I'm heartbroken, and you just trying to be like, oh, wine, or oh, he's just an asshole, or I'm sure she just, is not cool and you are. I don't know, sorry. My inspiration is not that high level right now. But you know what I'm saying? Like, let's not bypass the pain. Let's not try to make someone feel better. Let's allow them to feel fucking shit. Because that's where the magic is at. And that's where I feel that I've grown and evolved and deepened my own experience and my own connection with life and with myself, and therefore with other people as well, is whenever I allowed for pain or discomfort to just be there. And I know we try to save and help each other, but that's not how we're saving and helping each other, by trying to kill or numb the pain. The most beautiful gift you can give someone who is in pain is acknowledging their pain and saying, I'm not afraid of your pain. I'm right here for it. And just as long as it takes for you to feel it and to move through it, I'm just going to be right here sitting with you. And that is the practice that I do with myself. That is the practice that I want to inspire you to do with yourself. And by practicing that, we can start doing that for our loved ones and our friends and our family, and even for the people that we don't know in the streets. It's a muscle that we can train to sit with discomfort, to sit with pain, and to not try to numb it or kill it, because thou shalt not kill it. It shall kill thou. In my best Shakespearean English. No, that's interesting. Like, the painkiller will not kill the pain. It will eventually kill you instead. And that's just the craziest thing to realize. And if sitting with the pain is too cryptical or too confronting also maybe for you, then there's always an embodiment practice that is maybe more accessible for you. I'm just offering it. Because how to sit with pain, There's two options. Option number one is to put a hand on the place in your body that you are feeling the physical pain. And even when you're in emotional pain, it's interesting to realize and to also locate that it comes with a physical sensation somewhere in your body. Usually it can be the chest, or it can be around the solar plexus or the belly. But there is a physical component also to emotional pain. So locating the pain and just placing one or two hands on that area and breathing into that area. And just feeling the heat of your hand there and feeling your presence with your hand, and if you can, using your breath as well, sending your breath to that place, or just your presence. You can also just use your mind's eye, use your awareness, and place your awareness together with your hand in that area and just be present. And you can even kind of see it like there's a little baby. It's just crying, and it's not asking for you to explain something because it won't understand it anyway. It's just asking for you to be there. So you can look at that physical pain, that energetic that is moving in your body. You can actually maybe in your mind's eye see it as a baby crying, and all that it needs is just your presence and your cradling, you know? So that's one way. Another way, if you like to explore and experiment a little bit with expression, you can tap into the pain where it's at and give it an expression with your body. So, for example, if it feels like contraction, you express the contraction with your body. So you're allowing your body to express what it's feeling inside. And that for me also can be a huge portal for a massive ugly cry. Because that's when the pain becomes visible, physically visible. And when we physically see pain, like when you see somebody crouching, or that's something that also triggers, like unlocks access to, allowing the emotion to be there. So expressing the pain with your body, or simply being with the pain and visualizing it as a baby that just wants your presence, being with it by placing a hand, and if you can, sending your breath and or your awareness there. I hope I hope this inspires a practice of pain. And maybe you just heard it and you're just like, that's too next level for me. You know, even the fact that you are listening to this and that you made it all the way to the end of the episode means that there is something there for you, and something might click in another moment, or maybe there is not enough safety for you in this moment to practice pain this way, and then that's also fine. So I'm not saying there's only one way. I'm just offering you an opportunity to look at pain differently. That's the starting point. The practice can wait. Maybe you never get to the practice. But maybe just shifting your mindset around the essence of pain, the presence of pain, the intention of pain, maybe that's already softening a little bit. And again, pain being loneliness, anger, grief, sadness, jealousy, envy, whatever. All of the emotions that we classify as painful, they're all just pain in different costumes. And they're all little transformers wanting to give you a little key to help you help yourself and connect to yourself. That's how I see it today. But maybe tomorrow it's all different. I don't know. I don't make any promises. If something resonates, then that's true for you today. And if it doesn't, just let it go. Either way, like you know, I love to hear from you. So if you want to share your thoughts, your emotions, anything that's coming up for you, you can do so at love@emilieIris.com, or you can find me on Instagram. My handle is by.emilieIris. You can find all of that information in the show notes, and I hope you're going to be back next week. I know I will. Here's to loving and liberating, one heart at a time.